all those issues of duplication has been taken care of. Right. So that's what we have, and I think it's a win for all parties, win for the people at the lower end, win for the people at the middle end, and also a win for those people, even at the top end, they're not just about 2%. And the truth of what I'm saying is a win for them is that if they move away from this jurisdiction, Nigeria, and go next door, they are going to pay a higher rate.
Interesting.
So when people come around and tell you, because the rate even that we have now that we think is high, relatively to what we were doing before, is still well below what you have even across other jurisdictions.
This is Business News. Taxpayers in Lagos and across Nigeria are expected to benefit from greater certainty following the release of guidelines for the implementation of the Tax Act 2025 by the federal government. Issued by the Federal Ministry of Finance, the guidelines outline how the country will transition from the old tax regime to the new framework, which took effect on January 1st, 2026. Under the arrangement, tax liabilities, audits, investigations, and disputes relating to periods before January 1st, 2026 will continue to be handled under the repealed laws, while tax returns for subsequent periods will be administered under the new framework. The guidelines also provide direction on income taxes, transaction taxes, development levies, tax incentives, and record-keeping obligations, particularly for transactions spanning both tax regimes. Existing tax incentives and exemptions will remain valid until they expire, while pending and new applications will be treated under the provisions of the Tax Act 2025. Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Taiwo Oyedele, said the framework is designed to ensure clarity, fairness, and administrative certainty while preventing the retrospective application of the new laws. The federal government said the guidelines will promote uniform tax administration, encourage voluntary compliance, and support economic growth, providing taxpayers with a more transparent and efficient tax system. And that's it on Business News.
Welcome back to the Tax Talk. We're speaking with Mr. Abideen Akande, Special Advisor to the Executive Chairman of the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service. We're speaking on policy translation and stakeholder engagement under the new tax laws. Sir, are you ready to continue?
Yes, please.
All right, sir. So no, you went there. You said, go after them. That term, I'm going to jump on that now.
Okay, good.
Because I know that the NTAA empowers LIRS to recover outstanding tax liabilities through third-party recovery mechanisms. Now, in certain circumstances, let's add that to the question. But how does LIRS formally notify taxpayers when such action becomes necessary? And what sort of safeguards are in place to make sure that their rights are protected throughout the process?
Yeah. It's like the first question that you gave me was about, and I told you that this new reform is data-driven and is about service as well. So that service also, we have what we call a structured protection of taxpayer rights. Okay. So that's why it is important for us as a tax authority that we must notify the taxpayer that this, based on information available to us, which probably you provided yourself, or maybe which we got from third parties, this is what you owe the government.
Okay.
And you have 30 days to object, not to pay it first, to object if you don't agree. So if you object, we will sit down together, and like any two bodies, we always have friction. We agree to disagree.
Okay.
If we agree to disagree, there are opportunities for you to escalate the disagreement to the TAT. And then for the people at the lower end that they can't afford the big four accounting firms, the government has gone ahead to create what they call a tax ombudsman.
Okay.
The tax ombudsman will take up your case.
Wow.
At no cost to you.
For free.
Yeah. So that I have this issue with Lagos State and what have you. And then they will try to address those issues for you. And then we'll let you know that it is based on this information. It is not a best of judgment. It is no longer a best. It is because of this information that we have, this data that we have, that we know that you owe government this. It's now for you. That's why I said it's better for you to keep records. So that when you are now putting up your own claims, you say, this is my own claims now. And these are my records. And then the preponderance of evidence will now decide on who we will believe. So once we have now agreed that this is how much you owe, then we will also still notify you that this is how much, and you have to pay within 30 days. Okay. Now, the beauty of it is this, and I keep telling people, no taxman wants to run you out of town. Well, it doesn't make sense for a taxman to do that or run your business down. So if you come and said, you asked me to pay 100 naira, you know what? I've got these existential obligations, roof over your head, food on your table, and things like that, that I can only pay 30 naira this month.
Okay.
In another 2 months, I'll pay another 30 naira. Then in the 5th month, I'll pay the 40 naira. Okay. So, and you can demonstrate to the taxman that that's your condition. I don't see any tax authority that will turn that one down. So once you have that payment plan, okay, it's now for you to keep to it. But like I said the other time, if now the taxman has intelligence, so data, that this man is just trying to play me, he has about 5,000 somewhere, and it's just only 100 naira we ask him to pay. Okay. Then the taxman will now invoke that power of substitution to say, wherever that money is kept, put a hold on it, because this man owes the state and he does not want to pay.
Okay.
You understand? So
you said put a hold on it,
yeah,
but it doesn't mean that, because some would have assumed that you could take it out yourself.
No, because you see, yeah, once you put a hold on it, yes, just as a form of the first, eventually we can now demand, okay, that third party that remits the money to the state government. Okay. You can see that the money that you have put a hold on and what have you, because it's also to afford that person, that taxpayer, the opportunity to say, no, that money that is not my own, no, it's even for me, it's not that kind of thing. It's just to give you that opportunity. Okay. But once you put a hold on it and give a timeline, if there's no feedback from the taxpayer, then you instruct that money, and then you issue the receipt immediately, the revenue receipt immediately, so that we have not taken your money. You have paid your obligation to government. So this is your receipt.
We'll be taking a short break right here, and when we return, we'll continue with this important discussion. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Stay with us.
Have you had a hard time with taxes and understanding tax administration in Lagos State and the complex nature of Nigerian tax law? Do you know what agency or tier of government collects the various types of taxes? Have you ever found yourself asking any of these questions? Join us for your favorite program, The Tax Talk, your infotainment program.
Now, there are quite a few misconceptions about tax reforms, and it could entrench resistance, possibly undermine compliance, in fact. Now, from the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service's experience so far, what are 2 common misconceptions you've encountered about the new tax laws? And what are those clarifications you would like to provide?
Okay. The first predominant one that I had is that the new tax regime is bringing in new taxes on people.
Oh, okay.
And we were just wondering where the information was coming from. The narrative was just wrong. Because if anything at all, what the regime has tried to do is to harmonize the taxes and reduce the number of taxes that we have in the system, so that your number of interactions, frequency of interactions with the tax authority will reduce.
Okay.
And if I'm positive about it, in November in 2025, the new ministerial nominee, who was then the president of the chairman of the presidential committee, actually wagered something on, and it's still there. I'm sure he has not pulled it out, that if anyone can point to him and identify a new tax under this new regime, he owes that person 100,000 naira. I'm sure if I call Taiwan, he would still confirm that that money is still on the table. If you can find any new tax under this new regime, you'll have 100,000 to yourself. Okay. So the second one, which was also is the fact that they said, government is coming to take money from my bank or what have you. And it is not true.
Okay.
The power of substitution, as it were, is in the law. So we know it is there. The question you need to also ask is it new? Absolutely not. Because it has always been in our laws all this while. So we can go back up to 2004 when the Peter was and Sita was done in 2007 or thereabout. It has always been there. And is it unique to Nigeria? It is not true. If you go to Ghana, the same will apply. The taxman is the one that they call Uncle Sam in America.
Uncle Sam, yes.
So he's the one that if you don't do the right thing, it will just go there and take. And now, at our own level here, it's the last resort. We would have engaged you, agree with you on what you owe the government, which you have accepted that you owe the government. Now, owing government is not a big deal. Just everybody owes money. That's even the businesses say OPM, other people's money. They use it to do their business. Now, it's your refusal to pay that is a problem here.
Okay.
Now, if you don't have the means and you can demonstrate that to the taxman, no problems.
Okay.
But if the taxman, due to the now new interconnectivity that we have in that of data, is been able to ascertain that you actually have the money to pay, but you have decided on your own, recalcitrantly decide not to pay, then the taxman will say, okay, now I think Mr. X, you are going to pay, we can see that you are going to pay Mr. A in May.
Okay.
Please know that Mr. A owes Lagos State government. So before you pay him what you owe him, please pay us. And then you put our receipt there, which is the credit note,
yes,
plus the balance, and give to him as
his payment.
As his payment. So the same thing. So if you, of course, it's easier with banks. We can see, because the banks are supposed to send statements to us, and we can see that you have the money and you are not paying. Then we say, bank, please put a hold on this amount because this man owes us this amount. And that's just it. But it is not new. It is not peculiar to Nigeria, and it is not going to be used going to be abused. Let me put it that way. It's not going to be abused. It's going to be the last resort.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much for that response. I have a feeling people at home watching right now are heaving a sigh of relief that it's not Uncle Sam, or is it Uncle Abideen that's coming for us.
It will be Unquire, because that's the chairman.
Unquire. Okay. All right then. Now, the NTAA requires taxpayers to maintain and retain proper books. Now, proper books it has its levels, or to a certain extent. Books of account for at least 6 years. Now, what are those implications for businesses that have failed to keep adequate records? Now, I'm actually speaking on behalf of myself. I'm wondering where all my books are. They're probably catching dust in one drawer somewhere. I'm not sure if they're considered adequate to you as the tax authority. So what would you offer to small or medium or informal operators to help them meet this obligation and avoid compliance risks?
Okay. Now, you will see also under the law that for once, even the penalty is not that much.
Okay.
Yeah. But also the idea is that you're not doing it for the taxman. You are doing it for your own business and yourself. Okay. You see, the tendency is that if you keep records, you are likely to run a better business model because you are not likely to misapply the funds that you have. You will know the ones that... And so my advice is very simple. The law also provides for simplified record keeping and filing. And I know also that most of not most now, some of our banking institutions, banks, they are actually big in encouraging SMEs to formalize, and they have series of engagements with them, which also the tax authority would do. At the tax authority level, what we advise that you start simple.
Okay.
Start simple, and that is just keeping a record of your revenue receipts and expenses. And also, it's always advisable that try to move away from cash operations to digital operations, which, of course, all those money, whatever, because the truth of the matter is that all your debits you'll be notified by the bank. So if you sit down and then scroll through your phone, your records are there. But if it is done in cash, you would have forgotten.
Okay.
So those are my kind of advice I would say to people. But also, it is not every enterprise that is expected to present to us audited financial statement. No.
Okay. All right.
No. So as long as you keep some records that shows how your revenue came in and what you expense them on and things like that, then the taxman will be comfortable with it because they know that at that level, that is what is expected of you, and they can also access information from third parties to validate what you have presented to the taxman.
Thank you very much. Sir, permit me to wrap up this conversation with this final question. What is the single most important principle you would want every taxpayer, employer, tax professional in Lagos State to embrace regarding their responsibilities? And, of course, the broader opportunities presented by these new tax laws.
I think I talked about one concept the other time at the beginning of this interview. Cooperative compliance. Cooperative compliance. That is, we want you to comply, but we are ready to go with you along that journey of compliance. And I think that's what the message here. Lagos State Internal Revenue Service is ready to assist you to comply. Please take advantage of all the opportunities. We have all our different help desks. Some of them are digital. Some of them are actual people. They are physical in all our tax stations. And we have contact centers and what have you. Please feel free, reach out to us. We will explain to you and we will guide you. In fact, I think on our e-tax platform, we have what they call the digital bot that takes you step by step on how you want to, if you want to make payments or you want to file. So we are not there yet. We are improving every day. And part of the things we want to also put on the table sooner than later is a USSD platform that allows people that they don't have smartphone. I don't know whether I call it dumb phone now. So they will also be able to interact with us just using that platform. So it's a continuous exercise of improving the system to reduce your cost of compliance. Cooperative compliance, that's what we should go off.
Thank you very much, Mr. Akande, for joining us on the Tax Talk today. With this conversation, you've provided so much clarity. You've talked about policy moves from legislation to implementation. You've also talked to us about how LIRS is ensuring compliance is informed and structured, you know, and of course the word is fair.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Titi. It's a pleasure. I've really enjoyed myself. Thank you.
Now that concludes today's Corporate Talk segment. The show continues after this break. You're still watching the Tax Talk. Tax administration is not only about compliance, it's also about impact. The government of the day continues to invest the taxes of its citizens in projects that seek to elevate the quality of life of residents, especially within the state. Up next, Tax Did It.
Today, here in Ajegule, AJ City, we are not merely commissioning a set of buildings, we are fulfilling a covenant, a sacred promise between government and the people, that no child, regardless of where they are born, shall be denied the dignity of a world-class education. What we have built is a school for the 21st century. Mr. President, what they are commissioning today is not just a facelift. It is not a cosmetic intervention. It is a fully reimagination of what public education should look like in modern African city like Lagos. A school city that now comprises 36 schools, 5 primary schools, 15 junior secondary schools, and 16 senior secondary schools.
This is the voice of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The remarkable scale and significance of the Tolu School complex reflects vision, planning, and a very clear commitment to improving the lives of our young citizens. And we now virtually commission the Abijo Food Hall, the first of its kind in our dear nation, Nigeria, and also commissioned the Maracana Stadium. The name is very unique. Slums that had produced stars in the future, that will produce the future pillars, not just for Ajegule, not just for Lagos, but for Nigeria. And so I do so with these 2 projects in the name of God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. I thank you.
An informed taxpayer strengthens the system. Tax reform succeeds when legislation and administration, as well as public understanding, move in alignment. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Titilayo Oyinsan. See you next week on the Tax Talk. Goodbye for now.